It's time for Nerdy for 30, the podcast where we usually talk about nerdy-ish movies for 30-ish minutes. Today, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. This is our first time recording again together for the year 2025. So we're just going to be catching up, talking about things that have happened recently, having a good time. Hopefully you'll have a good time with us. My name is Kevin Bauer, aka The Critic's Choice. With me, as always, my co-host, the People's Champ, Tim Keck.
If you feel it, chase it, baby.
If you feel
back.
It, chase it.
We're back. Doesn't it feel good to be back, Kevin?
It does. It feels really strange. We haven't recorded together in a month. We also we haven't seen each other. And this is definitely like one of the longest gaps we've gone in seeing each other in a long time.
This is a long gap, too long of a gap. Both had a lot of stuff going on, both out of town, both have sicknesses or whatever we're dealing with.
Yeah.
It's been a mess.
Are you sick right now?
Of Paddington too. It's just been a chaotic time.
Both have work conferences too. That's never fun. Man. So wait, yeah. Did you end up getting hit? We got hit with the RSV real bad. We're going to end up getting one of those like medical disinformation tags on Spotify.
Well, I've had migraines forever. This is my major cross to bear in life. And other than that, and the unbearable weight of my talent, just migraines and talent. That's all I have going for me. And it's been like a rough couple months for whatever reason. And so I finally went to like a neurologist, and I've never been to a neurologist before, never gotten anyone to look at this. My sister gets migraines worse than I do. She went to neurologist. She did all that stuff. So all my migraine information was secondhand. I was like, I'm not doing any tests. I get it. Like we're DNA wise, we're pretty similar. I have a pretty good test subject in my sister. She can get an MRI or an MRA or whatever. And let's experiment with some drugs on her. And then she can report back to me. And so now it's like been a while. Like she's kind of got her stuff under control. I was going through a bad bout. I went to the neurologist, and the leaps in medicine, Kevin, fascinating to me. I was looking for another preventative medicine, and the last one I was on was a pill you take every day. Kevin, they gave me one that's a shot that I do once a month at home. It's like a needle, and you just like stab it in your leg and inject it, and then you're good for a month. And that's the thing. Isn't that crazy? I was like getting myself hyped up like it was like Pulp Fiction or something.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yes,
we're going to be at a party.
Just like stabbing myself. Dude,
there was this time, I want to say it was like your 26th birthday, 25th or 26th birthday.
Yeah.
So this is back when we were doing like a bunch of shows around the city. We were probably the most connected we've ever been to like the improv scene in New York as it existed in those days. And you were a beloved figure among all of us, Tim. We were all so happy when we found out that your birthday was coming up. So we planned a surprise party for you. There's this great beer hall in the middle of Williamsburg. We rounded up like 40 people. It was this big smash thing. And part of the plan was that Breen and I were going to distract you while everybody went to this beer hall to set up. So Breen and I made plans with you for lunch. In the middle of lunch, you started getting a migraine and started talking about how you were going to go home. I forget what plan we'd set up for afterwards, but Breen and I are like, oh shit, because we know that everybody's just waiting for you 3 blocks away. And in trying to figure out, we're like, hey, man, can we get you some ibuprofen? Like, what can we do to make sure that you hang in here with us? You were like, no, guys, I'm feeling so sick. Seriously, I really got to go. I really got to go. So when we pay the check, Breen picks up your backpack with your laptop in it and literally runs away. And you were so disappointed and so burdened. I feel so bad now having experienced a migraine and knowing how horrible it is, and like how sick you felt. But we didn't have any context for it then. And you weren't like mad. You were just like, oh, no, like, please, dude, please just come back. And you're like, where did he go? And I'm like, oh, I think he went to this bar. So
and you're like trying to make it like a surprise, like, oh, I think he went to this bar. And I'm just like, yeah, why the fuck? Why are you doing this to me?
I just happened to know exactly where he ran to without telling us anything,
which I was not thinking through at all.
Oh, how could you couldn't think in that moment? And then I walk, it's the longest 3-block walk of all time. It took like 20 minutes to get you from this lunch spot to this bar that was so close. You come in and you see everybody. And I vividly remember this. This is gonna stick with me forever. I remember how genuinely surprised and happy and moved you were that everybody was there. But I also remember seeing the light leave your eyes when you realized that out of politeness, you had to now stay in this place for at least a little while. And again, now having experienced this, we put you through a torture chamber. Like that's one of the worst things we've ever done to anyone.
Dude, that was simultaneously the nicest thing that's ever happened to me and like the worst night of my life. It was so bad. Dude, and then I like just kind of I somehow plucked up the energy to say hi to every single person. Then I put my head on the table and was like, oh. And Dave's now wife Emily was like rubbing my back and like, you should just go home. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I threw up so much, dude. It was like the worst one. It was so bad.
This is exactly what I was thinking, though. This is what I was picturing as the Pulp Fiction moments. We have to lay you flat on your back on a picnic table, get this thing and jam it straight into your fucking heart.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I need someone to come over and administer it to me. And then we could do some fun role play stuff. But I was like in the doctor's office and she's like, what if we tried it? How are you with needles? And I'm like, let's do it. You know, this is great. And then I got like a new preventative, like one, if you get a migraine, you're supposed to take a medicine. It was a pill. Now there's a minty one. It just dissolves in your mouth. I'm like, you don't even have to swallow if you don't want to. It's just great. It's just, they've got, science has advanced so much. But I will say, there's certain times during the day when you are psyched up and ready to inject yourself with a needle. And there's other moments where you're like, I don't want to do this. And so all day I was like, yeah, man, this is going to be great. I'm going to do it when I get home. And then I got home and I made the mistake of like showering. I like got into my comfy clothes. I just like completely winded down.
You romanced the needle, dude.
I lit some candles, had some aromas going. I did a little bath bomb. I was like ready to go, man. So then by the time I did it, I was no longer in like psyched up, like, let's fucking go, like gym. Like I should do it right after the gym or like in between workouts, you know, hit the bench, stab yourself with the needle, do some squats, you know, just like get it when the adrenaline's pumping and you can just rip that Band-Aid off. But I was so calm and so relaxed. And then when I pressed the button and the needle hit, I was like, why is this hurting me? I was so confused for whatever reason. I'd somehow completely forgotten that it was going to hurt because it is a needle. And anyway, I'm once a month, Kev. Once a month, I'm stabbing myself. You know, if you want to, maybe that could be like a prize. If you join our GoFundMe or our Patreon, if you donate $100, you can inject me. Oh God. That could be a grand prize where someone gets to inject me with my monthly migraine. That'd be very fun. I should raffle that off as something at a show or something. That'd be fun.
At the very least, they should get to pick how you do it. So like my pick would be, if I won the raffle, I would say that you have to do it like any heroin scene in any movie ever. So like you know, if you're sticking it in your leg, wherever you're putting it, you still have to tie off, like get like the rubber band and then like put the doors on in the background and drape like a red cloth over a lamp.
I should have to like wrap a belt around my arm and then like get out a spoon and like heat the bottom of it and then just put it all down and stab myself in the leg.
Yeah, you really do need to be is that freebasing? You really do need to be freebasing your migraine medication.
I could, I mean, it's just liquid in there. It could break it open and it's like a glow stick or something. I know there's something fun in there.
Oh God! Yeah, can I tell you? This is kind of, you know, this is a movie adjacent segue here. Have you ever seen the movie Trainspotting or read the book Trainspotting?
No, I feel like I knew you were going to say that for some reason.
I mean, it's like the gold standard of heroin movies. That I read that book when I was 16, I think I asked for it for Christmas, and my parents got me that book for Christmas. And man, oh man, they did not look into what they were buying at all. That it rocked my socks. It's a wild book. The entire thing is written phonetically in Scottish dialect. So it uses Scottish slang, but the way that the characters talk is phonetic pronunciation of Scottish. So the cool thing is you come out of the book and for like a month afterwards, you can do a great Scottish accent. But like, I still sometimes I'll cuss in some of the Scottish shit that I learned in that book. But it's also, it takes a lot of time because in the beginning there's so much slang. There's a glossary at the back of the book, and you have to keep flipping back and forth to be like, what the fuck is a bairn? Oh, it's a baby. Okay, so now we're gonna keep talking about this. But yeah, that book is a wild fucking ride. I would recommend it. I mean, to anyone who's looking to read something that is not relaxing at all.
I love that they always do it in like futuristic movies where they're like, well, we need some new slang. And then it's something like scud.
Yeah. Zetus Lapidus.
Stop being such a scud.
Yeah.
Such a Lapidus. What do you do? And it's like, what are these words? Just making up the slang for it. That could be a whole job, is just like making up the slang for futuristic movies. Oh, and be like, well, Elysium already did this. We're going to have to go a different angle for the new Star Wars.
Oh my God. I'm sure somebody has like a Wikia that's like sci-fi slang. I was rewatching Blade Runner and people keep calling androids skin jobs. And it's like, wow, this jobs. There's that's like this leading name. I feel like I could go for a skin job, and then you're like, maybe not. That's if somebody pays $100 to the GoFundMe, they get to give you a skin job. That's just what we're calling. It's not gross. That's just what we're calling injecting Tim with his medication. Yeah, the slang for providing me with my essential preventative migraine medicine is skin job. Wow, I like it. That's great. This is a wild ride, man. But depending on how things shake out this year, I might also be going on an injectable for medication. Really? So we can just, we can like hang out if you want. We can like, we can just kind of make it like a modern opium den, hang around, sit on pillows on the floor. And my day's the 15th. I did it on the 15th. So it's like hoping to be the 15th of the next month. So we should just celebrate, go out for lunch. Yeah, dude. What if we went out to lunch and then just a nice restaurant every time and got some champagne and really celebrated. And then just like halfway through the meal, pulled our pants down and just like injected ourselves right there. Then pulled them up and we're like, we're back at it. This is what we do. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm in as long as we do it in public. Yeah. It would be. Have you ever seen that old Monty Python sketch where it's like the guy's at a restaurant and he's just comedically huge? Like, it's disgusting. It's a gross out humor bit, but he's massive. And they just keep bringing him more and more food and he's eating it disgustingly. And everybody at all the other tables is staring at him. And it keeps going until he literally explodes. It would be a similar situation, except it's just us and we're in full tuxedos at like a $3 sign place on Yelp. And the part that makes everybody stare at us is just every 15 minutes we're injecting ourselves with something. I like the full tuxedo too, because it's just more clothes to take off. Yeah. Like getting a cummerbund, having to remove the cummerbund, having to undo the belt, lift up the shirt, secure the jacket. We should also just get ass naked for it too. Sure. Just jacket off, socks off, and then just see how far we can get. Like when a little kid uses a urinal. Do you remember being like a little kid? And like, I remember being at like school, and it was like all of us thought it was so funny because we were in like, God, we were too old for it. We were probably in like third grade at that point, and one kid's reputation was he still pulls his pants all the way down to use the urinal. Because when you're in kindergarten, that's what like every kid is doing. But by third grade, you're like, dude, you need to learn how to not have your pants all the way down for this. It's the funniest thing, and Butters does it on South Park, and it makes me laugh every single time. It's also funny because his pants are down and both hands are lifting his shirt up. So there's no guidance in this situation whatsoever. Oh his targeting computer is off. He is letting the wind take him where it needs to go. And I'll be honest, though, I have been going full Butters at home in the privacy of my own home. Why?
because if you're just like pulling down the pants, I feel like it's a two-hand job. I'm holding down the pants with one hand. I'm securing, the package with the other and aiming it proportionally. Okay. But let's say I'm on my phone. I'm checking my fantasy team. I don't want to have the extra hand going full butters. You got one hand free. I can be on setting my fantasy basketball lineup while still taking care of business. It's honestly just a more efficient way of doing things.
Interesting. See, you know what? I cut out the middleman entirely. I've been just full on sitting down since, for decades now. It's the better way to do everything. It does make everything take longer. Do you think that society in general is in denial about how much time we spend on our phones on the toilet?
I don't know if we're in denial about it, but I do think it's unhealthy to be spending so much time on the toilet.
Yeah.
It can't be. We've got all these like squatty potties, all these weird technologies now. Like you'd think we just have the potty thing down. But I mean, aren't there countries where there's just a hole in the ground and you just squat over it? And they're like, this is the most efficient way to do this.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's the most efficient way, but it's like, I guess it's the most efficient setup. I don't know that it's the most efficient way to perform the operation. Yeah, there's a lot of, people are just hanging out in the bathroom too long. And then I know there's like a whole subset of people. I'm saying this is no judgment, but there is like a whole subset of people that are like they're like nervous poopers. And they seem to have, I've spoken to a lot of close friends who will go unnamed, who have expressed it's the kind of thing that they will throw out there as though it's like a thing that everybody experiences. And it's like, oh no, that's just you, dude. Where they're like talking about how bad it feels to be in there. And like, it's like, man, you got to get a healthier relationship with using the bathroom because that's not my experience. I feel like I got a great relationship with anything going on in there. I've made my peace. That's the least of my worries every day.
It's my third place.
That's your third place in this world.
Work, home, the toilet. That's where I spend. I divide my time evenly amongst those.
Dude, we put Philips Hue lights in there. It's whatever vibe I wanted to be in that room.
Oh, I should be lighting a candle every time, just like really just savoring the moment.
Yeah.
But I was, sitting down at work one time in the restroom, door closed. I can't see anything, but there was a guy at the urinal and the sounds he was making were they were like shitting sounds, but for peeing. And it just what is happening here? What's going on? And it felt like he was simultaneously fighting for his life, but also just like, like trying to shake off a bad day, where he's just like, oh, gotta get my life together.
Maybe that's
like
the thing.
Like he'd gotten bad news and a medical illness, like at the same time, and was coming to grips with both of them. That's the sounds he was making. As just quietly pooping in a stall, it was a lot to deal with.
Sure. That's a lot to put on you. That's emotional labor. The only time I make any noises about that is, or the only time I make any noises like that is when, and this happens, I will say, frequently when I'm taking a shower or usually right before I go to bed. It's when I remember like an awkward or uncomfortable thing that I've done at any time in the past 25 years. I will I don't know what makes it happen, but I'll remember like an uncomfortable exchange that I had with someone like my freshman year of college in the dorms. And it will make me cringe so hard that I physically react. Like I actually do like a deep sigh or like a noise like that guy was doing of like, and like Lauren will hear it and be like, what's wrong? And it's like, this happened
8 years ago.
Yeah.
8 years ago, I was passing someone in the hall and I held the door open, but they were too far away. And then they started jogging and it's like, fuck.
Dude,
I have to carry this around.
Shout out Joey if you're listening to this. This is this guy that I used to work with, who he has that memory condition where he remembers literally everything. So for him, he was on 60 Minutes. I've seen him talking to the 60 Minutes crew about it.
Wow.
It's
can't
like
remember the 60 Minutes guys.
I can't. He could for sure. He remembers all of it. But it's like a thing where we've tested him on it. It's like you will tell him a day in a year. So it'll be like, August 13th, 1998. He will be able to tell you where he was, exactly what the weather was like, exactly what was happening, exactly what we talked to. His brain logs all of it. So it's cool for him. He doesn't have a photographic memory necessarily, but he does remember the specifics of every conversation. It's mortifying for the rest of us because those exact awkward interactions, I've had those with Joey. I know he remembers every single fucking second of it. Every second, Tim. It's like having it recorded, man. I did one of Brian's podcasts one time, and on the podcast, I fucked up 6 + 2. That's recorded forever. That's simple math. I fucked it up. That is on the internet forever. This it shouldn't be allowed to have somebody remember that kind of stuff. It feels awful.
I feel like this guy should be a detective or something. Like he should be stringing evidence together.
He should be, man. It'd be great. He'd probably see too much, and then they'd have to get rid of him. They would know that there's no other way to get the information out of him.
Oh man, that just had a massive brain fart, but I had something really funny to add.
Do I need to inject you? I could be there in 15 minutes, dude. You say
I might
the
need
word.
an injection of excitement to get this thing going. Oh, I did. Okay, I did a little bit just for fun, just for leisure, not for the pod. This is something I've been struggling with recently. Is every time I put on a movie, I'm like, I'm like taking notes, and I'm like, why are you taking notes? You can just throw on a movie, and it's okay to like relax and enjoy it. So I've been doing a bit of a Marvel rewatch, Kevin, and I did a little power ranking based on the 6 Marvel projects I revisited. Okay,
interesting. Yeah,
wanted to run it by you. Number 6 at the bottom. This is a ranking of just how much I enjoyed it. Sure. Number 6, Wakanda Forever. Don't love it. That is not a fun movie, Kevin. As a rewatch, that is not a good time. It is sad the whole time.
That is emotional labor.
That is emotional labor. And it's like Namor is like one of the coolest characters and one of the best like villains they've had. And it's not necessarily enough to get me hyped for just all the loss and negativity and the bummerness of this movie. Not a fun rewatch, probably a better movie than I would let on, but it's a lot to deal with emotionally, just hanging out.
No question.
Number 5, The Marvels.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I wasn't that excited about it. The fighting's neat. The villain sucks. Right. We've talked about this before, but I do like hanging out with the Marvels. The big 3 are a lot of fun, and Kamala's family is incredible. Fun for the rewatch. Totally Not agree. A rewatch. Watched it for the first time. Number 4, Agatha All Along. I liked Agatha All Along. I finally got into watching it. It took me a minute. It took me a couple tries to get through the first episode. It is like not a Marvel thing, but I enjoyed it. I think one of the like trends I was wondering about is like Wakanda Forever. They introduced Riri, what's her face, Ironheart. And some of these characters just feel so forced and not fun. I think like Monica Rambeau is another one where it's just like, for me, it just feels a little forced. I'm not sure why I care. Nick Fury's like, it's time for you to learn how to fly. The Iron Heart girl is doing all these homages to Iron Man. And I'm like, I don't want another Iron Man. Like he just died, Why are we doing this again? Why are we anointing this person? We haven't seen them struggle at anything. We haven't seen them overcome anything. They just came out of the woodwork and now they're the new Iron Man and we're like supposed to love them. It's weird. It's very forced. I think for both of those, I was not familiar with the actors before. And so I think my love of Catherine Hahn is probably what got me over the hump and into Agatha All Along.
Sure.
And I guess I'm saying like some of these characters, I don't know, if you're going to throw them in randomly, like it's gotta be like someone who is like universally beloved already. They're making a lot of like people I've never heard of, like kind of thrown in there in the MCU, and it's weird and it's a bummer. They should be like treating these guys with more respect, I think. But
sure. I don't know. I mean, I'm a huge Billy fan. I stand the original Young Avengers lineup so much. I'm happy to see Billy in there. But yeah, I don't know. It's been rocky.
Yeah. And I'm not sure I care about Agatha all along if it's not Catherine Hahn. Top 3, Kevin, in order: Hawkeye, Guardians 3, Deadpool, and Wolverine. I enjoyed all of those. I had a great time rewatching Hawkeye. They make a lot of jokes just making fun of these LARPers, which is like, there's nothing like positive. It's just pure, what you guys do is stupid. That's their take on it. and the Marvel universe and the LARPing communities, it seems like there's probably a little overlap between comic book readers and LARPers. Also, just the swordsman, I liked so much more, knowing that he is not, maybe I shouldn't be dropping spoilers for this, but knowing that the swordsman is not going to play as big of a role as I anticipated, it was nice to just hang out with him, and he's fun, and I like it a lot. And him sword fighting at the end, very fun. Guardians 3, I enjoyed a lot more than I thought I would. The emotional lifting with Rocket, I get it. There's just lots of cute moments with it. Excited to see the gang. And then Deadpool and Wolverine, just so fun. Just such a good time. I had a blast rewatching it.
Very, very fun. Like all those, I will say, we talked about it on our Guardians 3 episode. It didn't fully hit for me. I think somebody finally crystallized why. Shout out to Nick Moore. I was talking with him, and he was like, I think his take was that Guardians 3 is a solid Guardians movie, but not a solid ending to the Guardians franchise. And I completely agree. I think if that wasn't the final Guardians movie, I would like it a lot more. I think it works great as a deep dive on Rocket, but I think it kind of wrapped up. I think it was too abrupt of a wrap up. And I would have loved to see like a larger send off for the team.
I think we're definitely going to get the Guardians again. I think that last team that we saw is definitely going to be showing up.
Yeah.
Something.
It's still, it's not quite the classic team that I just want a bigger send off for the people that we know as the Guardians. Like, I know Drax is done. James Gunn's not coming back, so it would never quite be right anyway. But yeah. The
James Gunn of it does suck, how he's just like not a part of it anymore. And it's like, he is very competent as the superhero director, I think, and like was pretty good. But
yeah,
those were a lot of fun. You think, what do you think, Kevin? You do any rewatching of these? You think, was I off base with my my rankings here? Have you got a chance to rewatch Hawkeye? Because I listened back to our Hawkeye pod and we were both talking about rewatching it and enjoying it that much.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. It's a Christmas rewatch for me. I love it's the closest. Have you read the Map for Action?
Yes.
Hawkeye run?
Yeah.
It's great. It's the closest we're ever going to get to that on screen. It's phenomenal. Really hits with they found a great way to excuse how they can do that kind of a thing and have Hawkeye be this solo guy without his family there. And it has extra emotional impact because this whole thing is getting so drawn out and it's keeping him from seeing his family. It's really relatable. It's really practical. It's cool. It's nice and grounded. We need more of that.
Yeah. I do think it's a great intro to Haley Steinfeld. Like, they should be doing this. Yeah. Like Ironheart should have had her own TV show or something like that.
She has one
like that.
It's coming out. They should not have put her in fucking Wakanda forever. It's too much too soon. She's flying around full Iron Man armor. No way. It took us like 3 or 4 movies for Tony to get to the point where he had armor like she had in that movie.
Also, at the end of the movie, Cherie's like, I can't let you take it. And they're like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, what do you mean you know? Didn't you make this? Why not? Insane. Bucky's walking around with a Wakanda arm. Why can't you walk around with this Iron Man suit? I don't know. It's just weird, Kevin.
Yeah, it's just weird. Too much too soon, dude. Okay. Namor, super fucking good, though. It sucks that Namor is in that Wakanda Forever movie because Namor is dope. Every single thing they did with Namor is dope. Except for burning the wings off his feet at the end. That was weird. Don't do that. Let him have the wing feet.
Yeah. It's kind of like ripped one off. It was cool.
Yeah.
Wonder if they're going to grow back. They got to grow back. Okay.
We'll see.
Well, wrapping it up, Kev.
Tim, great to see you again. Great to talk to you again.
Great to see you.
We're going to be back here again next week with 28 Days Later. It's finally back on streaming. It's been missing from streaming for like 10 years. So go check that out. Come on back next Thursday. We'll see you then. Till then, stay nerdy, everybody. Bye.
Stay nerdy. Bye.